Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through the noise, pull out the key info, and get you up to speed fast. Today we're digging into something that might look like just a local event on the surface, but there's actually quite a bit more going on. We're talking about a really special performance recently by the Haeum Gugak Company in Hanam City.
That's right.
And, it's not just about one afternoon show. It connects to these bigger ideas, cultural identity, Korea's global reach, K-culture's future even.
Exactly. Lots to unpack there.
So our mission for this deep dive is to explore what that performance really meant, look at Hanam City's potential. They're calling it KStar World, which sounds intriguing.
It does.
And figure out why Hanam might just become, a top spot for anyone wanting a genuine taste of Korean culture and arts.
A really authentic experience.
Okay, let's get into it. So maybe let's paint a picture of the event itself first. The specifics are kind of important here.
Yeah, context helps.
It was Friday, June 27th, 2025, 2 in the afternoon at the Hanam Day and Night Care Center. And the really cool part, the heart of it, was who performed. It wasn't like only professionals flown in.
Right.
Members of the Misa Three-Dong Resident Self-Governing Program were actually the stars. They performed the fan dance, that's Bukakim, and the Janggu dance, Janggu Chim.
Wow, so community members taking center stage.
Exactly. But there was professional artistry too. The dancer Seulhee, she performed an original piece, Maehwa, Palm Blossom.
Oh, beautiful, creative Korean dance, so a modern take.
Yeah, alongside traditional songs too, things like Beitawura, Nankam Hadi, Jindo familiar names maybe.
Classics.
And it all finished with the JindoBuk, the drum dance. Sounds like a really energetic finale.
That one's always powerful. So a real mix of community and professional, traditional, and contemporary.
That's the picture.
And what's really fascinating, picking up on that, is how the sources describe the whole atmosphere. It wasn't just, people sitting and watching a show. They really stress it was more like a festival.
A festival? How so?
Because the local residents weren't just audience members. They were the protagonists, is the word used. It changes the whole vibe, doesn't it?
Totally. Much more participatory.
Yeah. And the descriptions of the dances performed by the residents themselves. The fan dance, for instance, praised for its gorgeous colors and beautiful lines, really showcasing that sort of flowing, curvilinear beauty you see in Korean dance.
You can almost picture it.
And the Janggu dance filled the stage with lively rhythm, just infectious energy, you imagine.
Right.
Then you had Seulhee's Maehwa dance, a modern look at the plum blossom's noble image and soft lines. Sounds quite evocative.
A blend of grace and strength, maybe.
Could be. And that JindoBuk finale, described as overflowing with energy, creating exploding excitement, really pulling the audience in.
Wow.
So it makes sense that the older people in the audience were, smiling brightly and clapping. It clearly resonated.
It really sounds quite special. And it tackles that idea, doesn't it? That Gugak, traditional Korean music and arts. And Korean dance can sometimes feel a bit formal or maybe distant from everyday life.
Yeah, like something you only see on special occasions or in a museum, perhaps.
But this event seems to flip that script. It showed that when local people are actually doing it, practicing, performing,
Actively involved.
it stops being just tradition and becomes a living culture, part of the community fabric.
Exactly. It breathes.
And this is where it connects to something deeper, I think.
Absolutely. Because that participation loads these traditional forms with even more meaning. The fan dance, for example, isn't just pretty moves. It's said to hold the aesthetic consciousness of our ancestors, a whole way of seeing beauty.
Okay.
And the Janggu dance rhythm, that's where you find our hung, that unique Korean feeling, excitement, joy, that communal buzz.
Hard to translate, but you feel it.
You do. And the JindoBuk's power, that's pure spirit of community.
Right.
So when the community performs these, it's not just entertainment. It's a way for everyone to connect with these values, to reflect on, who we are.
A living link to cultural identity.
Precisely. And the sources point out Hanam City's role in this, their support for these resident programs.
Yes.
They call it the warmest and most sustainable way to vitalize culture. It's not top-down. It's nurturing it from the roots up.
That makes a lot of sense. Organic growth.
Yeah, letting it thrive naturally.
Which leads us nicely into Hanam's bigger ambitions, because this performance wasn't just a one-off feel-good event.
No, it fits into a larger strategy.
It's explicitly linked to Hanam City preparing to grow into KStar World.
Right, at that name again.
That KStar World. It makes you think, I don't know, giant K-pop stadium. theme park.
That's the initial image, maybe?
But the sources clarify, it's not just building a single performance venue. It's about making Hanam a city where you can properly experience Korean culture and arts. The whole spectrum.
A much broader, deeper vision than just entertainment facilities.
Yeah, it sounds more immersive, more authentic. Especially thinking about that community performance we just talked about.
And if you connect that performance to this KStar World idea, it clicks. Why are Gugak and Korean dance seen as core assets for this vision?
Because they are the core of Korean culture in many ways.
Exactly. They're not just museum pieces. They're seen as vital for showing the world what Korean culture is, authentically. The hope is that these traditional arts become something foreigners don't just watch, but can directly learn, enjoy, and continue.
So participation for visitors too, like workshops, classes, that sort of thing.
That seems to be the idea. Active engagement, not just passive viewing. That's how Hanam aims to be the true center of K-culture.
Moving beyond just the pop phenomenon to the deeper roots.
It's a really interesting angle on cultural exchange.
And Hanam has some pretty significant advantages for pulling this off, location-wise too.
Definitely.
First off, it's right adjacent to Seoul. Super accessible, right? You fly into Incheon, it's not a huge trek.
Easy to get to. That's a major plus for international tourists.
But crucially, it's not Seoul. It apparently boasts a wonderful natural environment. We're talking rivers and mountains.
So you get the convenience, but also a break from the massive city. A different pace.
That seems to be the appeal. Imagine, learning Janggu rhythms in the morning, and then hiking by a river in the afternoon. That combination.
Yeah.
The sources actually say Hanam is the best place for that deep dive into Korean culture because of this blend.
Accessibility and that natural, maybe more contemplative setting.
Yeah, it offers a different kind of Korean experience, maybe a more holistic one.
And performances like the Haeum Gugak Company's one, where you see tradition and modernity breathe together through the community.
They're essential for this KStar World idea.
Absolutely vital. If they keep fostering these kinds of authentic, grassroots cultural experiences, the belief is Hanam really could become that representative stage, introducing Korean culture to the world.
It's quite a compelling vision when you lay it all out. So, okay, bringing it all together, what have we learned? We started with, what seemed like a small community performance.
At a daycare center.
And we've ended up talking about Hanam City's grand plan to become a global hub for authentic K-culture, KStar World.
Quite the journey.
It really highlights how vibrant local culture, that resident participation, isn't just nice to have. It's actually fundamental to building this bigger future. It underlines that idea that culture isn't just handed down, is it? It's something we create together.
Actively.
Constantly evolving, community-drawn. And thinking about that collective creation, these living traditions, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? How important are these deeply rooted community events, not just for preserving the past, but for actively shaping a future for K-culture that's accessible and meaningful globally?
That's a great question. And maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. For all the K-pop fans, the culture enthusiasts out there, could seeking out these local living traditions in places like Hanam actually offer a more, profound experience than just consuming the big spectacles?
A different kind of connection.
Yeah. What role do these living traditions really play in the whole K-culture wave? And how might you, if you were planning a trip, seek out those authentic participatory experiences yourself?